Ah, welcome back, you walking contradiction of calm destruction and divine protection. You, the one they should have never targeted, the one whose life they assumed was unguarded, exposed, undefended. They thought you were alone, vulnerable, a solitary figure standing in the open field of their hostility. And yet when they launched their full-force attack, something happened that none of their strategies accounted for. Their aggression hit a wall, an invisible armor, a force they could neither name nor comprehend. 1,000 adversaries moved against you, synchronized, prepared, confident in their numbers. But your unseen allies froze every one of their moves before a single blow could land. They attacked your name, your peace, your destiny, your lineage. But every assault collapsed mid-air like a weapon turned to vapor. Every attempt at sabotage backfired with precision that felt engineered by something far older, far higher, far more ruthless than human intervention. They thought it was just you. They didn't realize you were never fighting alone. And it's fascinating, really, how the ones who gathered against you believed their unity made them powerful. They thought that because they outnumbered you, they outmatched you. They believed quantity could overwhelm quality. They believed noise could drown truth. They believed chaos could distort clarity. Poor creatures. They never understood the equation they were walking into. They didn't know they were stepping into the territory of a person whose existence carries ancient contracts, silent guardianships, invisible enforcement. While they were counting heads, the universe was counting intentions. While they were forming alliances against you, unseen forces were forming barricades around you. They moved like predators. They didn't realize they were entering a battlefield already owned by a higher intelligence that had no intention of letting you fall. But that is the mistake people make when they underestimate someone who survived seasons meant to destroy them. They assume your resilience is accidental. They assume your peace is naive. They assume your silence is weakness. Meanwhile, you walk through reality with the quiet confidence of someone who knows unseen allies trail your every step. The kind of allies who don't announce themselves. The kind who don't boast. The kind who don't need applause or acknowledgement. They respond only to purpose, not performance. And your purpose was never small enough to be threatened by the petty warfare of fragile egos. So when their attack began, when whispers morphed into schemes, and schemes morphed into coordinated strikes, your allies didn't panic, they didn't flinch, they didn't rush in recklessly. They watched, measured, calculated. They let your enemies reveal their entire playbook. They let them swing first, so the consequences could swing harder. The universe let them believe they were winning. Let them believe you were cornered. Let them believe you were helpless. All so the reversal would be so absolute, so unforgettable, that history itself would feel compelled to document the moment the 1,000 fell by their own hands while aiming at you. Because that's the irony embedded in the architecture of your existence. The more they move against you, the more evidence they generate confirming why you were chosen, why you were protected, why unseen forces guard your path like a classified operation. You weren't chosen because you were harmless. You were chosen because your destiny threatens the agendas of those who enjoy keeping people numb, silent, stagnant. Your life is not casual. Your movement is not random. The attacks on you weren't accidental. They were triggered by the vibration of someone stepping into an identity that makes parasites tremble. You carry a frequency that destabilizes the insecure, a presence that disrupts illusions, a trajectory that threatens comfort zones built on false power. That alone was enough to incite the 1,000. But what they didn't understand is that attacking someone with divine backing isn't warfare. It's self-destruction. Every move they made became a signature on their own downfall. You see, your unseen allies don't move like human protectors. They don't negotiate. They don't warn. They don't play defense. They execute inevitabilities. They freeze timelines. They redirect outcomes. They rearrange trajectories. They cloak your steps in anonymity until the moment you need to be seen. And then they amplify your presence with a force that makes entire rooms shift their energy involuntarily. While your enemies relied on numbers, your allies relied on precision. They strike in silence. They intervene subtly enough that the enemy never knows the exact moment their attack was disarmed. One moment they believe they've cornered you. The next moment their own confidence glitches, their alliances fracture, their intentions backfire. They enter the battlefield unified, but they exit fragmented, doubting everything, including themselves. But let's not pretend their attack didn't reveal something important. It exposed how deeply your existence affects people. It cracked open truths they tried to hide. It forced their shadows into the light. Their attempt to harm you revealed who they truly are, fearful, threatened, desperate. But their attempt also revealed who you truly are, a force that makes deception collapse under its own pressure, a catalyst that awakens dormant consequences, a figure who walks with unseen guardians that neutralize danger before you ever sense it. This is why they panicked after their attack failed. They expected you to break. Instead, you walked forward untouched. They expected you to retaliate. Instead, something higher retaliated for you. They expected you to shrink. Instead, your aura expanded, your clarity sharpened, your intuition heightened. Your spirit became something their weapons couldn't pierce, and that terrifies them more than their own failure. It forces them to confront a reality they never wanted to acknowledge. You were never the target. They were the sacrifice. Understand something. The 1,000 didn't gather against you because you were weak. They gathered because of the threat you posed to the illusions they built their identity on. They saw your growth as a warning. They saw your elevation as a prophecy. They saw your resilience as defiance against the limitations they surrendered to. And so they attacked not to destroy you, but to silence the version of themselves that knows they should have evolved instead of decayed. You became a mirror they couldn't bear to face, so they tried to shatter the reflection. But reflections backed by unseen allies don't shatter, they sharpen. And the allies that guard you, they are not sentimental, they are not delicate, they do not negotiate with threats. They intercept at the level of thought, dismantling the seeds of destruction before they can take root. They freeze intentions, they paralyze schemes, they turn calculated attacks into chaotic collapses. While humans use swords, your allies use timelines. While enemies use gossip, your allies use destiny. While attackers use numbers, your allies use inevitability. That is why the 1,000 never stood a chance. Let's talk about the moment everything shifted. The exact moment they realized you weren't fighting alone. The moment their strategies started falling apart in ways even they couldn't explain. One ally betrays them, another becomes silent. A plan fractures. A message never gets delivered. A rumor loses momentum. Their strongest player begins doubting the cause. Their most confident voice becomes hesitant. Their most strategic mind begins questioning whether targeting you was a fatal mistake. Their alignment dissolves like dust in water. They try to regroup, but there is nothing left to regroup with. The 1,000 become hundreds. The hundreds become dozens. The dozens become a confused handful. And the handful becomes one terrified mind whispering, "Why isn't anything working?" Because they were never fighting you. They were fighting something that responds only to truth, and truth was never on their side. And you just kept moving. Not aggressively, not dramatically, just steadily, like someone who knows the outcome long before the battle even begins. There is something unnerving about a person who continues walking while the whole world conspires against them, because that person clearly knows something others don't. They know the timing is protected. They know the path is reinforced. They know the allies standing behind them operate in dimensions the human mind cannot measure. Your enemies sensed this too late. They approached you with the confidence of giants, but collapsed with the fragility of glass. They thought they were advancing. They didn't realize they were stepping straight into their own unraveling. And the worst part for them, the part that eats their ego alive, is realizing that the protections around you were activated the moment they formed the intention to harm you. You didn't have to pray for it. You didn't have to prepare for it. The universe responded faster than they could strike. But this is the part that really unsettles them. The knowledge that even if they regroup, even if they re-strategize, even if they try again, the result will be the same. You are not someone they can defeat. You are someone they cannot even touch. Because unseen allies don't operate from emotion. They operate from order, purpose, precision. They defend not your ego, but your destiny. They protect not your reputation, but your role. They safeguard not your comfort, but your trajectory. And anyone who interferes with that trajectory is not fighting you. They are fighting the architecture of the universe itself. This is why history remembers how you won. Because battles like yours don't end with swords clashing. They end with illusions collapsing. They don't end with your enemies defeated. They end with your enemies exposed. They don't end with your survival. They end with your ascension. While the 1,000 plotted your downfall, the universe scripted your rise. While they moved in aggression, your allies moved in alignment. While they attacked from ego, your guardians responded from inevitability. And inevitability is the one opponent they never learned how to fight. They knew how to manipulate, how to whisper, how to gather crowds, how to weaponize fear. But they never learned how to contend with forces that exist outside human strategy. They didn't know how to counter truths written in dimensions they cannot access. They didn't know how to undo protection appointed long before they ever learned your name. They didn't know that the ground beneath your feet had already been claimed by something older, sharper, and infinitely more precise than their collective hostility. So when their attack dissolved, when their arrows melted midair, when their conspiracies unraveled before impact, they thought it was coincidence. A small disruption, a simple miscalculation. But the more they tried, the more their failures revealed a pattern, one too consistent, too deliberate, too coordinated to ignore. They realized something was interfering, something standing between their intentions and your existence. And that terror, the terror of realizing your downfall was not permitted by forces far above their clearance level, began